Yo, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Culture Shock. We are back with another video, and it is another AFC South rival game. Man, the Colts just have it in for them, don't they? Rivalry game after rivalry game, and this time we're going up against our best friends, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I couldn't do it alone without my guy, Jaguar Podcast. How you doing today?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you for joining. Especially for this good game we got ahead of us. And both teams right now are definitely on a different type of scenery. Starting off with the Colts, the last game they got a victory against the Denver Broncos. It was a shootout. It was a great game. Air quotes, being sarcastic. But our kicker happened to make the game-winning field goal, which is a relief due to our last kicker scenario. So the Colts did get a dub. It was an ugly dub, but hey, you can take the dub with a grain of salt. It is what it is at the end of the day. Like I said, everything wasn't clicking still for the Colts. Hopefully, they can still figure out the situation. They went to go sign a left guard a guard out of free agency, a former veteran from the Carolina Panthers. Looking forward to seeing how that's going to turn out. We still need to figure out the right tackle situation. Bernard Ryman at left tackle has been secured at that spot, which should have been done since the beginning of the season. But they're still figuring out these things in that circle. So going into this game, we're going to talk more about that in the future. That should be a good thing for us. But on the other hand, the Jacksonville Jaguars back-to-back losses. They cooked up some good momentum, but for right now in this stretch, they played two formidable opponents. But the last opponent was the team we tied with at the beginning of the year, the Houston Texans. How are you feeling so far about that?
It's a disappointing loss. This was a game I thought we'd come in and dominate. We just a ton of mistakes, penalties, bad throws by Trevor Lawrence in the end zone there for an interception. A secondary I honestly thought we could exploit and really open up, and especially given that we have a power running game there with ETN and James Robinson. Robinson gets a measly 10 carries in this game, two more than he got in the Philly game that we lost as well. So there seems to be a trend when we don't give James Robinson the football. And so I'm hoping we can break out of that and he gets more touches in this game against the Colts.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a James Robinson fan. Kind of seen how he exploded on the scene last year. So definitely looking forward to see how you guys are going to use him moving forward. And if that trend continues, what are you going to do for him in the future? So definitely looking forward to that. I am a good observer of AFC South opponents. I do observe the Colts, but I think my knowledge on other teams is probably much better because I have to know who I'm playing against in the future. So, like I said, hopefully James Robinson and the Jaguars will figure it out. This is the positive side of the Colts fan base. So, wish you guys the good luck with that. But moving forward to that situation, the key players before we get into in depth of this game, the key player for the Colts and Jaguars, I'm going to let you go first. You can give two offensive or defensive, or you can give one. It's up to you. Who are the key players you're looking forward to in this matchup for round two against the Colts?
Yeah, I think, it's going to be, like I said, James Robinson is going to be definitely one of them. He's going to be a key factor in this game, a key to winning this game, really, in my mind. So that would be my first offensive player, and then the other would be a defensive player. It's probably going to be Josh Allen in this game. Was very quiet. I mean, he didn't even get a mention in the Texans game. I mean, I didn't. I felt like he wasn't even playing, right? Because I didn't see him get any pressure. So some that's got to change in this game. He's got to be flying around the ball, wreaking havoc in the backfield and getting pressure. So those are my two.
All right, for sure, for sure. For me, for my two guys, I'm going to be looking for a key player in Bernard Ryman. Left tackle is very important in the NFL, and he's going to be secured left tackle moving forward. Of course, he's a rookie. He's going to have his goods and his bads. But in the AFC South game that you need to win for sure to turn the season around, this would be a good start, especially against a formidable opponent like the Jacksonville Jaguars. The last time we did play them, we wound up getting a fumble at the end of the game from our rookie from last year, Hurricane Dio. That's what we call him. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the left tackle situation is going to look this game, especially him knowing that he has the spot secured because the person we had prior to it, the whole situation was just not it. So hopefully he can figure it out. And for the defensive side, I'm going to look at Yannick Ngakwe. Hopefully he can see some type of pressure. DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, two defensive tackles. Well, two tackles had very good momentum for the last stretches of games. If you guys force the double, hopefully it can open up the edge rush from the side, and we can go get Trevor Lawrence to force some terrible throws. But Trevor Lawrence definitely was just throwing a bunch of layups the last time we played. It was disgusting to watch. It was so easy. I think that was like his first time he felt comfortable in the pocket in the NFL, and that was against the Colts, which is embarrassing, especially from my side. So those are the two people I'm looking for sure. Moving forward, what are you looking for in the offense for the Jaguars to have a chance of winning this game?
I think it's establishing that run, RPO. So mix that in kind of. So I'm thinking I see the Jags running to the right side a lot in this game because of us losing our left guard Ben Barch. So we're gonna have a backup Tyler Shatley in there for him. Ben Barch will be out essentially for the rest of the season with a dislocated knee.
Mm.
So that's a tough loss, and we're not really deep in the guard position. So Shatley's really a center, kind of a swing player. He can play center primarily, but he can also play guard. I think he'll do okay, but I think you're going to see majority of the runs on the right side, probably going off of Jawan Taylor and Brandon Sheriff. So I think you'll see a lot of Robinson and ETN in this game. And then, hopefully open up the passing game with that as well. But I think, some of those, you mentioned some key matchups and offensive line there. I think, and you mentioned Yannick Ngakoue, he's going to be hungry in this game again. Didn't see a lot of him in the last, Colts Jaguars game, but I think he's going to come into this game wanting revenge, against the Jaguars, a team that, like I said in our previous episode, that didn't pay him. So he's been kind of bouncing around from teams, and he wants revenge, and he wants that money. So it'll be Cam Robinson, I think, versus Ngakoue, and that'll be definitely one to look out for. Two ex teammates, I'm sure, have gone up against each other a lot in practice, so that one will be fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Two formidable opponents, especially you mentioning Taylor and Sheriff, two known offensive linemen in the NFL. If you guys don't know them, do your homework. But they are very good and solid at what they do. But definitely Yannick, this should be his game. I don't know what it is for the Colts and the Jaguars, but these are two. I think it's just the AFC South in general. They do much better at home than they do on the road. But for the Jaguars, you guys are good in London as well, so that's kind of like a nay effect. I don't know what it is with the London Jaguars, but you guys play pretty decent football over there. Um, but moving forward, that definitely should be a thing to look out for. But like I said, the momentum for the Colts at home is just something that they need, and for them doing their stretch, I think it'll turn the season around. I'm just gonna stay positive minded and throw everything out the window that the Colts have as issues resolved, like the offensive line and Matt Ryan not holding on to the football, because we know how that's going to look when the Jaguars go in there and send that type of pressure. But from the Colts offense perspective, what I'm looking for more passing. The run game is something that you want to see as a Colts fan. We love Jonathan Taylor. I get it. But for us to be successful with this terrible offensive line situation, we just have to win through the passing game. It has to be dink and dunks, layups, short types of passes. We have the abilities. We have the guys. We have Alec Pierce. We have Paris Campbell. I mean, we just lost Doolin, so I'm pretty sure we're going to be calling up Kiki Kuti for this game. But Michael Pittman Jr., we have solid receivers and a decent tight end group. We just have to get him involved. And with that, we have to have time for Matt Ryan to throw the football. Of course, he does understand why he can't hold on to the football. He's 37. He's old. This is probably his worst year when it comes to sacks, pressures, and forced fumbles. I mean, but it's just something we're gonna have to deal with as Colts fans, because the offensive lines he's been through, I mentioned it all the time, it's pretty much broken him as a player. So it's no turning back from that. He's gonna struggle. I mean, but when he has his moment, when he's on, and he's clicking. And hopefully he can click in this AFC South game. Moving on to the last part of this segment before we get to our score predictions. What are you looking for in the Jaguars defense to give you an even better chance to win this game?
Yeah, I think the interior defensive line has to have a really good game. They have to clog up those holes. I think Jonathan Taylor's questionable, and so is Naheem Hines, right? Like he had a concussion or a head injury in the game against the Broncos. So I'm not sure what you guys are going to do at running back. If Philip Lindsay's going to see some work in this game, maybe, or yeah. So I think the interior defensive line has to have a good game. Your center, I think, is hurt too. Ryan Kelly, who's Pro Bowl center. So it'll be interesting. I think your backup, I forget his name. It's like
Andy Pinter?
yeah, yeah. That'll be an interesting matchup. Devon Hamilton versus him, and maybe Adam Gotsis. And yeah, seeing how that goes. But the Jags really have to get interior pressure, clog up those holes, let our linebackers and edge rushers fly around. Secondary, it's going to be also, it's going to be a different, kind of chessboard there with Michael Pittman seeing, the field in this game, and Tyson Campbell, I think, and Michael Pittman Jr. That'll be one to look out for. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who wins that one, and then um, your other I'm blanking on the name of your other wide receiver. Was it
Alec Pierce.
Pierce? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the other. He's the other one. Can't sleep on him. And Mo Ali Cox. I mean, we're gonna have to jam him up on the line. Linebackers are gonna have to get good coverage on him because, as we saw in the Broncos game, he got a lot of touches and got some nice yardage there. So hoping the defense just they have good run defense, not give up any real big plays, and the secondary plays well.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's going to be a good one. We mentioned you mentioned the running back situation with Taylor and Hines. I was a fan of the Broncos game. I said I don't want them running the football anyway. So both of them missing it was just like a blessing for me because I was like, good, just throw the football because that's the best chance of winning for the offense anyway. Even though we see what happened with the interceptions and stuff, but we still had a chance to win and we won anyway. But that's a story for another day. But we're probably going to be having Lindsey and Jackson at the running back duo. Jackson, he's shown his flashes. He can catch out the backfield as well. It's kind of like our Travis Etienne, but he's not Etienne because Etienne's better. But he's definitely that type of role guy for us. But moving forward, for what I would like to see from the Colts defense is the same pressure we've been seeing all year. The defense for the Colts has been the best part of the team since the beginning of the season. Win or loss, hands down, like shutting out teams in the second half, like holding them to three at least 3 points. It's just a cue of what you can be. This team can be so good. You can be so good, but the play calling and the offensive game plan is just the reason that's holding this team back. It's so it's so frustrating to watch because this defense gives you their all, down and down and down, and then they're exhausted because the offense can't put up any points. But then when you look at this defense, a guy like last week, like Stephon Gilmore, being battle tested, and he just ends the game telling you don't try him. Former defensive player of the year, by the way. I don't know what Russell Wilson was thinking. But then you have that pass rush waking up, and then the secondary is pretty decent. You got Thomas, a young solid safety that replaced Julian Blackman. The linebacker group stepping up without Shaquille Leonard. All these things, the defensive tackle, the nose tackle, all these guys showing up play by play, and you're just rotating pieces every other down. And they're a solid group of guys, but then the offense is just holding them back. If the offense can do any type of seeing at least 6 points, the game is over. We're barely seeing six thrown for a touchdown because we can't score in the end zone, but we're putting up field goals. But if they can put up at least 1 or 2 touchdowns, I put this game in the hat. So now we're going to switch into the score predictions at the end of this segment. Let me get your score prediction before I give mine.
Sure. I think it's going to be a fairly low scoring game. I think the Jags are 2.5 point dogs in this game. So, but I still think they can pull off a win here. I'm going to say 2017 Jags.
Nice, nice, nice. I'm probably going to go lower than that. I'm going to go 17-14 Colts.
Okay.
Um, I would love another field goal victory. Colts fans, I understand, but when you look at the points, the offensive ranking for points total in the offense for the Colts, it's like bottom dead last in the NFL. So I'm not really expecting 4 touchdowns thrown from Matt Ryan. If it is, hey, have at it, Matt. But I don't see that happening. But definitely can see a low scoring game for sure. Both of these teams are wishy washy. It's going to be a dogfight. We both know that for sure. But definitely looking forward to that. Wish you the best of luck. I appreciate you for joining the show. Please let them know where to find you before we leave.
Yeah, the Jaguar podcast. You can find me on YouTube. You can also find me on my website, www.thejaguarpodcast.com. And you can find me on Apple Podcasts and pretty much wherever you find podcasts. And on social media, you can find me on Twitter at Jaguar Podcast. And then I'm also on TikTok and Instagram with the same handle. So check me out there.
Yes, when he's not trolling me on TikTok, he has good content. So check him out for sure. Appreciate you for joining the show. This Jaguar podcast. This is Marcus, and until next time, you've been culture shocked. Go Colts.